Okay, so no intro then tonight because, like we just said earlier, interwebs is all screwed up.
Well, it has its own mind, I guess, right?
I guess we just got to deal with it. Well, welcome to Any Last Words. I'm your host, Joe. And tonight we have a very special guest. We have Harley Wallen. Say hello. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How about you?
Not too bad. Just trying to stay cool and occupied, busy.
I feel you there. We had a little nice heat wave hitting us up here as well, and I almost get a little bit red as well. So this is good.
uh, how is the weather is heating up where you're at right now, as
Yeah,
opposed to other
fine.
people who are getting snow?
Right. Yeah. For us, finally, we're starting to get, and Michigan is kind of funny because it goes from winter to summer. There's really no spring, and maybe the 15 minutes they call spring is pretty entertaining. But we had freezing temperatures 2 nights ago, and I burned
Oh, oh
How about that?
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a kind of a little bit like we are here out in Bakersfield out here.
Yeah.
We do get a very, very, very short spring and a even shorter fall. So
Yeah. I can imagine you guys for sure. How far from the water is that?
like 2 hours away from the water. Yeah, we're in the armpit of California. We're in a little dust bowl. It's crazy because I'm not from here originally. I moved
Yeah.
here. I'm originally from the San Francisco Bay Area. And
Hmm.
we moved here when I was a teenager. And every time I have left this place and we're driving back, you can tell how close you are because it's like, I call it the dome of dirt. You can see like the dust dome that goes over Bakersfield.
Wow.
It's so horrible. And the breathing air quality here is horrible. It's so bad. So
So
bad.
does it say California, or does it say should have been Nevada?
It says should have been in hell or the trash can. So
That's funny.
no, I hate the weather, but I like the people here. The people here are pretty cool. So
That's awesome.
it's a give and take, I suppose, in life.
Right?
Ah, ah. So yes, we've got Miguel. He says, "Hello, everybody. Hello, Miguel.
Hey, hey, Miguel.
Hey. Okay. So we've got some movies to talk about, but first, I always like to get to know the people that I'm interviewing because I think that's an important thing. Like where you started, the things that you did in your life. I'm just interested on how people tick, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was kind of like trolling through the internet a little bit, if you will,
All right.
and pretty much trust IMDb. You know what I mean? Like it's usually us, our own people.
Yeah,
You hope it's our people that are like adding all of that on there. And I
yeah,
read some really interesting stuff. I read that you are a fifth degree black belt in judo. Is that correct?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I started. It's really funny too because I tried all kinds of sports. I'm Swedish, and the first normal thing everybody tries is either soccer or hockey, and then if that doesn't work, they try tennis and table tennis and golf. There's this thing, and I just didn't love any of it. And then I remember my mom and dad putting me in judo, and they were like, if you don't like it, you're gonna, because I was not like a tough guy or anything. So they were pretty much telling me that if this is not for you, then you still have to finish this. They signed me up for like 3 months. So I'm
Okay.
like, okay. And I loved it. And I was terrible at it at first. And then, I got better and better, and eventually got to rep the Swedish national team, and have a lot of fun competing internationally. So, yeah, I love it.
Very cool. That's very cool. You did you do anything else besides judo or only judo?
I did judo, taekwondo, jujitsu, and eventually started doing MMA, which is, the stuff they do in the UFC, cage fighting. People call it all kinds of stuff. It's mixed martial arts, and yeah, I retired undefeated professionally. My
Okay.
last fight was 2010. Cool. Had my last fight televised in this country. Was a lot of fun.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm not gonna fuck with you. You can come
Well,
work at my bar. I need a bouncer sometimes.
all right. Well, fly me out. I'm game. But it's funny what I still am involved behind the scenes of the sport, but I do commentary and I host a TV show on UFC Fight Pass called Warrior Wednesdays for WXC, which is one of the premier leagues in this country.
That's so cool. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I love it.
Wow. And so you said you're from Sweden. Obviously that's why your nickname is the Swede. That's what
Yeah,
I read also. Okay.
yeah,
Why did you move from Sweden to America, if you don't mind me asking?
yeah. No, I at the time I'd done a couple of small things when it came to acting. I was a break dancer as a kid, and I ended up on a syndicated TV show similar to like the Osmonds or whatnot, like a cabaret type show. And they took me because I was the dancer, and I had got to do a couple of lines here and there when they needed somebody to buy a tanning lotion at the store or whatever. And I started hanging out with the actors, and I listened to all their process where I didn't know what I was doing. They had all this stuff for their characters, and I just got sucked in. I got an acting coach, and I knew this is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So yeah, that's what brought me across the pond.
Oh wow. Okay. Do you miss it, or do you go back often, or?
Yeah, my whole family's still there, so I definitely miss it, and I miss them. But
Aw.
I go back every other year. I've taken all my kids there and my wife there and everything else. So yeah, it's fantastic to, and I think it's good too. It gives you perspective when you've seen a little bit more of the world. I was lucky to compete with judo and to tour pretty extensively as a breakdancer. I don't talk about it a lot, but I've been on stage with like Two Live Crew and Rob Bass. I mean, crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I
Oh.
think it gives you a little bit of perspective because you get to see a lot of life and not
Mhm.
just be in one place, do one thing, know one kind of people. I think it's good for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It helps you grow and build a different type of character than what you can have if you just sit in one spot.
Yeah,
Oh,
nothing wrong with that either, though.
oh
We need
no.
both. We need
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. That's so interesting to hear that you did all of those things before, you started doing acting, and then, why you moved here and everything. That's so cool. This is why I ask these questions.
Love it.
uh, okay. Do you have a movie that has impacted your life, or a movie that really inspired you more to become an actor? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like that movie, it hits me in such a place where, I can see myself doing that, or that would inspire you to further what you're doing.
I think more than anything else, I remember actors growing up, and I remembering seeing them, knowing that they're not the character, and yet I'm so stuck in believing it that I'm sucked into it, and I can't at the moment decipher real from entertainment, and being that sucked in when I was younger. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Denzel Washington, just seeing them on screen just absolutely took my breath away. And I started thinking about, like, why is it that I can't stop watching them? What is it that does that to me? And then I started finding, Jodie Foster comes around. She was amazing. She
Oh
blew me
yeah.
away. And then you have, people like, I remember Julia Roberts, like her laughing on screen. You laugh a little bit on the inside with her every time because it's so genuine. So that was it for me, just to see all this and going, wow, this makes a real change in people's lives. It's not just something fun and games. It's more than that. You can reach into people's lives and touch them, and you can even cause change if you give a moral dilemma on screen. What happens? You walk out of the theater and you talk together, and you're like, I would have never done that. Oh yeah, you would. And you do that whole thing where we grow as humans.
Mm-hmm. Do you watching like De Niro and Al Pacino, did those push you want to do more of those kind of movies, like the tough guy movies? I mean, I know you said earlier you'd done judo and everything. Did that push you to want to do more of tough guy movies, or just be, in movies, like, period?
I think in the beginning, I wanted to portray that. until I kind of realized that it's not an outside experience, it's an inside experience to act. So after a while, I started realizing that I really wanted to do was experience that.
Okay.
You know, so living through and seeing it from that perspective is pretty unique and very rare for us to get that opportunity to live as. And when you get a decent sized juicy role in a film, you get to really experience it. You get to exert it, and you get to be them for a while, and it's pretty powerful. Actually, I learned a lot about myself taking on roles.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite type of movies? Like do you like action movies, horror movies? Do you have a genre that you like?
I'm the worst with this, and it's funny because you can look at my career and kind of see it. I refuse to be defined by genre,
And that's okay.
it's all about a story. Give me a great story. I mean, I look at I've now directed and acted in Bennett Song Holiday, which are straight up family romance, cute movies, and then I've done Enigma and Eternal Code, these action thrillers or whatever, and then I've done Agramon's Gate and Abstruse that are more like horror films. So I just love telling a good story and playing an interesting character and making bold choices.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, because some people I'm not saying everybody, but some people they're just I don't want to say typecast.
Yeah.
Because that seems kind of like rude to say, if you will. Like
it's not bad though.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, because if it works for you, I mean, fuck it, it works for you,
Yeah.
And that's great, because you're naturally just really good at doing that and playing it off in any role that you get that pertains to that type of character.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's fine.
Yeah, it's funny. Jan Birch is a really good friend of mine, and he played the Stairmaster in The People Under the Stairs. And he is the sweetest, awesomest, vegetarian, nicest, kindest, peaceful guy in the world. And he plays these scary, scary, scary guys on screen, and he's so good at it. It's just a funny thing how that works. But he gets to live there for a short period of time, and I don't know, take out all these aggressions from not eating meat the rest of the time or something. But it's amazing. He's so good at it, and he's so genuinely nice when he's not on screen, so to speak.
Isn't that kind of a head trip and a little refreshing at the same time? Because I mean, like, no offense, but like with you, some of the movies that I've seen you in, you look like, like the Jason Statham kind of guy. Like, I'm going to kick your ass, like, or I'm going to, rob you into an abandoned warehouse, beat your ass and shoot you. And, and you're not, I mean, I'm not saying you're not a tough guy, but
No, I get it.
Your natural personality, just as speaking, is totally different from what you would see on screen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're very nice, you're very open, you're very welcoming, and you see you on the screen and you're just like, where's my money?
Last time I was in LA, it was really funny because I'm walking down, and I'm in Hollywood, and this car pulls over, and a couple of young 20-ish guys, and I think their mom. And it's funny because they were looking at me, and I kind of saw it at the side of my eye, and they were like talking to each other. And then the guy comes up and he goes, "Can I take a picture with you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Oh man, you're not even Russian, man." And he was all about it because he'd seen me in Betrayed, and he was like dead sure I was this Russian guy, and he was completely blown away when he actually started talking with me that I was not Russian. But that was the only time he'd ever seen me. He just caught it by accident, and it was funny. But I see what you're saying. It's very easy to think that you portray something on screen, and then you're very, very different in real life.
Mm-hmm. That also means you're very good at what you do, because you can convince people that you're that way.
Yes, that.
Kudos, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is there anybody that you've ever wanted to work with that you've not had the opportunity to do so with yet?
All those legends. I think I remember seeing, some of the stuff. I love the 90s thrillers, whether it's Silence of the Lambs or what, but they're so good. But I remember Jodie Foster really sticking out as somebody that I wanted to work with really, really bad. And she also seems like the kind of actress that's very, very giving. And I love that because it's one of them things that you don't always see. I've told this a couple of times privately, but Billy Wirth from The Lost Boys, he's one of them guys that he just gives everything to a scene partner. We had a scene where he was getting shot when we're shooting a film, and the game was that he's going to kind of fall out of screen, and then we pick it up, we put the mat out, and he goes the last 6 inches to the ground, and then we have a stuntman do the actual fall. And we do the first shot, and he goes boom, just throws himself to the ground. I'm like, whoa, Billy, like liability, buddy. And you're not that young anymore. Well, what are you doing? You're throwing yourself to the ground. He's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I have this leather jacket on. I'm good. I'm like, you can't do that. I said, I don't need that shot. I need you to go out of screen. That's the shot we have set up. And he did it a couple more times, and he went all the way to the ground. We never ended up needing the stunt guy. We never ended up needing to do anything else. And he sold it so well. So then we made it through the whole thing, and he's fine. And we switch the camera. We go on to the person that he's trying to save, and camera's on her for the reaction to what happens to him. And what do you think he does? Throws himself to the ground. He's not even on camera, and he throws himself to the ground. And I'm like, Billy, what are you doing? And he goes, no, I want her to have something good to react to. Like, wow.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. That's really awesome. That means they care.
Yes.
That means they really care about, it like no matter what you're doing, you're going to give it 100% and just, you fucking care. I love that so much. I love that so much. So how many films, you're a filmmaker also. Yeah. Have you done many films yourself?
So I have 9 films right now on the market that I produced, directed, and I've written 6 of them, I think. So yeah, I do a lot of different things on films, and I love doing that. One of my favorite things with storytelling is to tell a moral dilemma of a story where we start talking afterwards and engaging about the subject and think about it. So yeah, I love the whole filmmaking, the whole umbrella of things, not just acting. And I think I'm bitten by the bug right now that I would be totally fine even directing a film that I'm not even in. That's how much I love it.
Oh, awesome. Do you, not just the movies that you make, but the movies that you are in, do you watch any of them? Because I know some people hate watching themselves on the screen. I mean, maybe making is a different thing because you have to see if it came out how you wanted it. But I mean, I guess even with that, have you seen it more than once? But with being in a movie, do you watch your own movies?
So I think how it works for me is as an actor, it was harder to see myself on screen in the beginning. And then you start realizing that that's where you were then. And that's what you lived through at that time. Because I used to pick apart everything I did because it's such a progressive thing that you get better at, just like most things in life, that when you see yourself back and you go to your acting coach and you say, what was I doing? What was I thinking? And you start picking yourself apart. It's not healthy. And it's not good to act with a mirror, so to speak. I try to watch it and not really think about it being me, but rather just see the film instead. So that has changed, but I had to, as a filmmaker, as a director, I see the, probably 50 cuts before the time that it hits the screen itself and hits to a theater or whatnot. Okay.
All right. Let's see. We're going to take a quick break real quick. And then when we come back, I want to talk about Eternal Code. The new sci-fi thriller you got coming out that looks really good.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we are going to be right back as soon as I figure out what button to push. And I I do this by myself now.
Right.
And we will be right back. You guys hold on. This is a sponsor from the Bakersfield Gentlemen. They have a live stream show every week on cigars and bullshitting with other dudes and really pretty ladies that like to smoke cigars as well. So here's the commercial for that, and we'll be right back, guys. Okay, that's done.
It worked.
That took forever. Okay, we are back, and now I would love to get into Eternal Code, which is a movie that came out in 2019. It's a sci-fi thriller. Tell us a little bit about that, sir.
Yeah, it was. This was one of the more fun rides to get to all the way across the board. I remember reading, probably 2.5 years ago, it was a Facebook ad, and it said this Italian doctor was going to chop the head of this Russian paraplegic guy and this Chinese brain dead guy. They were going to switch the head to the good body. And they really thought this was going to work. This Italian doctor had already done this to deceased primates. Nerve endings had already regrown, and they thought they could do a medical coma and this would work. I don't know where they are in the process of this, but my writer brain kicked in and said, oh my God, the Holy Grail. What's going to happen when we can actually do some of these crazy things? So I wrote this kind of conspiracy theory about these two genetic research companies that figured out how to download the essence of you to essentially a drive, plug it into a new human, and take them over and live forever through just updating yourself into a new human. But they weren't waiting for a brain dead body. They essentially said, I can take anyone I want and override them with me. So I love that the dilemma, and I remember the line when we said, would you kill to live forever? It was one of them very intriguing moral dilemmas of that Holy Grail that we've been talking about since the dawn of time.
Yeah, and the old sci-fi comics and everything they used to put out. It's like a digital invasion of the body snatchers almost. Like these doctors are coming and just start cramming it into like people like, nope, we're gonna take you, And it's crazy because our technology has advanced so far, so far, especially in the past. I mean, shit, I was born in the 80s, so it's since the over 30, almost 40 years, we've and at that time we've got Atari. We're just dreaming of this stuff. We got ET and Atari. We're like, yeah, this is gonna be so cool when it happens. And now we're like, holy shit, it's happening now. This is crazy and kind of scary and intriguing at the same time.
We're creating these supercomputers that are way smarter than any of us could ever be.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going to happen with all this? Because it's one of the moral dilemmas that I've always loved saying is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think we don't stop to think enough if we should sometimes.
Okay.
It's that Jurassic Park thing. They never stopped and think, should we do this?
Which they're still working on that shit too, by the way. Oh my God. I love science. I love science and conspiracy theory stuff. And I don't know. It's fun when you merge them together because you never know what's going to turn out real and what's going to turn out to be fake. It's a total dice roll.
Yeah. Well, I know that they're working on the mammoth, right? That's the one that was first. I think that's a safe, good start.
Right. Because with that elephant, we can kind of safely put them together. And I mean, it's a mammoth. It's going to stomp on you, if anything. Give it a peanut. It might be okay.
So it's gonna be an interesting time to see what happens with all this. But even these things like, they're talking about at 2050, we will have virtually cured most disease unless something new springs out at us. We will
Mhm.
have conquered most of disease. So how old are we going to be able to go? We've already figured out the genome. So at what point will that thing become real that we can download your consciousness into something, capture
Mhm.
it, use it, and transfer it? I don't think it's super far fetched, and I think you got to have the conversations about it way before it happens, because otherwise you end up in that. Should we do this? I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
go. You know,
Just do it.
yeah. It's like
What does this button
Frankenstein. Let's
do?
just power up.
Exactly. And then they have things right now. CRISPR. Are you familiar with CRISPR? It's where they put you in like a
Yeah.
suspended animation, because a lot of people, they're really waiting out this shit, and they will pay whatever they can to, cryogenically free, like Demolition
Okay.
Man. Like, do you remember that movie at all with
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes, where
Yeah.
they
Oh,
put him
yeah.
in?
They're doing a sequel. Did you see that?
Are they
They
really?
finally said they're going to do the sequel. So
Man.
I mean, it's kind of spoiling, but I'd want to see. I'd
Well,
watch.
I'm curious to see too, because that was one of my favorite movies growing up. I
Mhm.
love Demolition Man, Judge Dredd. Those were all
Yeah.
great freaking movies. And I mean, I am curious, but at the same time,
Leave it
man,
alone.
it's well, yes and no, because I too want to see it, damn it.
Yeah, I
But
know.
but they're redoing so many movies, and they're continuing on so many movies, and you watch them, and I mean, some of them are great. Don't get me wrong. They're fantastic. It's like, you know what? Your storyline, it's perfect with the time that you put it out and the way
Yeah.
you incorporated it all to flow into one another. And then there are some, it's just like,
I just
you should have left it where it was at on the
Yeah,
table.
I'm so with you. I think with all of those things, I was so worried with Blade Runner because it'd been sitting there so long and it was so amazing already. It's like, don't touch it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, man, you guys did good. All right, all right. And then you watch the next thing and it's like, no, don't
Yeah,
do
it's
it.
like, oh, you
Stop.
should have stopped while you were ahead. Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Sheesh. Oh, well, before we get into it anymore, I would really like to show the trailer for Eternal Code
Do
so
it.
that people will have a little bit understanding and interest in what we're talking about, and then we'll continue on from there.
Love it.
So, you guys, here is the trailer for Eternal Code. I do believe there should be a link below, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, to where you can go onto the page and you can rent it or buy it and watch it for yourself. So, here we go.
Let's drop the subject down another 2 degrees. Then let's slow the heartbeat and the breathing down.
Downloading the brain and then planting that in another host brain.
They're selling this technology to the highest bidder, and I will not be moved. I vote no.
These are some of the most powerful people in the world. She's about to spoil their attempt at life everlasting.
The richest of the rich have their fountain of youth.
This could give them a new body and a new life.
If you don't change your position, I can't protect you.
We're breaking so many laws right now, all of it get it done.
Understood? There's $5 million in it for you and your boys.
My parents our men came to my house. Please don't do this.
What happened here?
I was missing.
The whole family is missing.
I'm gonna help. I need to know what you know.
I will let them go as soon as we complete the merge. In her absence, the board has the authority to cast their vote.
The purpose of his technology was never so that we could play God.
This thing is way bigger than either you or I.
Don't worry about the odds too much.
Awesome. That was a trailer for Eternal Code with Harley Wallen. And you know what? I've watched it a couple of times, and every time I see like a snap of Mel Novak in there. And I'm like, I know that guy. I've met him.
Yeah. Mel is awesome. I had him in on Eternal Code, and I'll tell you, not to give a whole lot too much away, but he dies better than anyone. If my whole crew was almost freaking out because he's so still it's scary. I mean, it really is. We decided to do this push, and I'm like, Mel, you sure you're good? And we did this push that's like probably 35 feet in on him, and I have no idea how he doesn't move. It's unbelievable.
It's probably like, I'm tired anyway. I'm just gonna lay here and take a nap.
Yeah,
That's what I would do.
I love his role in the film because everybody sticks him in to play this bad guy, and most people don't know this about him, but he's a very good guy, and has a very strong ministry and very strong moral values and everything else. And so he plays these character, and I said, hey, Mel, do you want to play this guy, Mr. This guy is the mentor of the woman that stands up to injustice, and he becomes that sacrificial lamb because he refuses to stand down, and it's so powerful. What he does in the film is so amazing.
I'm not joking. I'm seriously gonna rent it tonight when we're done, and I'm gonna watch it while I eat dinner.
Awesome.
I haven't had time to sit down and do anything really too much this week because you would think with quarantine you'd have more time on your hands.
You find a lot of stuff to do
that you've neglected.
Like sometimes it's like you're almost letting time just disappear, some flights. Yeah. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I can do this and this and this. And then you've done that and you're like, day's gone.
Yeah. It's like, now what?
Yep. And I have a 5 and a 7-year-old too. So, so that keeps you busy.
Yes, it does.
And homeschooling, it's like, thank you, teachers. I know you always say how much you love it, but that's not true.
And then I'd be looking at my kids like, this better not be how you act at school.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be sending your teacher like cards and flowers. Like, you better get your shit straight.
Yes.
Poor lady.
I have a whole new appreciation for homeschooling, man. Oh, holy bananas! But it's fun too.
Oh, I bet, because you get to teach your kids what you want them to learn, what you think's important and wholesome to them to develop as human beings, if you will.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I am home with them a lot, anyways. But to have this piece of the puzzle home, and having them study on their little tablets and stuff, and coming with the questions, it's cute. It's kind of funny because we don't do a whole lot of screen time normally. We'd like to try to be active and out and get on the trail or do stuff. So it's kind of funny to see this side of things because they're home.
Yeah. Oh, geez Louise. Kids are so much. Do they speak Swedish as I'm assuming you speak Swedish. You lived there like forever before you moved here. Do they speak Swedish? I'm sorry.
They don't speak. They understand. One of the things that I've been doing since they were born is the last thing every single night I sing a bunch of songs to them in Swedish because I wanted to fool them that I was a good singer. That means to start young. So I sing a bunch of Swedish songs and they watch some Swedish, Pippi Longstocking and stuff. They watch the traditional Swedish version of these things, which is a lot of fun. So they know some, but not as good as they should. And I should do a better job with it.
Oh, now you're doing great. It's fine.
Thank you.
Do any of them want to do acting or did they go, Daddy, put me in a film, please?
The funny thing is we had Tara Reid in for Bennett's song, and we wanted 2 kids for her in the scene, and we wanted them to be just like her, blonde and blue-eyed, and my kids are that way. And at the time, my daughter was, 4, and she had a line in the movie. She played Tara Reid's daughter, and she loved it. She's been asking me about doing something again ever since then, but we haven't really done any family movies until we did the Bennett song. But in the TV series that we're shooting, I was going to say right now, but we're obviously interrupted right now. But that we were shooting right now up until mid-March, and starting up here soon again. But that they both of my daughters have a couple of scenes in the first season.
Oh, very cool. They got bit by the little bug. And that's cool because you get to be there with them and you can help them and teach them and guide them in the right direction on what to do and not do, rather than some of us who we just do it on a whim. Well, I wouldn't say a whim. That's kind of a weird word. Not a whim, but we get this in us one day and we're just like, we want to do this. I want to do this. Like, this seems so much fun. And then we're having to find our way through it alone. So that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot because they've been asking so much about it. So we do little improvs and stuff. We one night a week we do the fake and magical day. So when before bed we talk about, so what did you do today? And it's like, well, today I started my day because they came with this new, flying carpet that I had to test drive. And so we do that whole thing where we tell each other just a completely wild story about our day that's not true at all. So we do that. We sing our songs, and then we do a little star search in the living room where we're singing and dancing and whatever else. So yeah, that's what it's like growing up in a creative's house, I guess.
No, that's great because it keeps their mind active and creative, like you said, because they have to make up a story basically kind of on the spot, or maybe they thought of it throughout the day because they know that's the day. And that's awesome. It keeps your brain healthy to do things like that. Oh, I love it.
Too. We're all cracking up. And, at 5 and 7, almost every story has to do with either unicorns or rainbows. That's always the case. So one way or another, we will end up on both of those in the story.
Oh, you're like, I know where this is going tonight, girlfriend. Yep. Let me guess, there was a unicorn.
Yes, exactly. That's pretty much how it goes.
We have a couple comments. Jesse says, I'm waiting for, this is in reference to what we were talking about a little while ago. I'm waiting for Singularity to begin. That I heard is going to happen, by 2025-ish? Where the computers are just as smart and working on being smarter than us, basically.
Yeah, I think already the supercomputers already are. But yeah, no, absolutely. This is we're inventing things that could invent us, right? Or
I know. Because you go to the store anymore and, there's automated checkout. There's kiosks everywhere where you don't need a person. You could go to McDonald's. You don't even have to talk to somebody. You just boop, 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 and wait for your number to get called.
I always say, I don't work here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't work here. Y'all ain't paying me for this. Yeah.
And I'm just discount because I have to plug in my own stuff.
Yeah, I'm still wanting to know where the hell my jetpack is. That's what I want to know. I want my jetpack.
Very disappointed.
I am. I'm very disappointed. There are no hoverboards and there are no jetpacks.
Yes, it was all a lie.
2020 is a ripoff. I want to go back to being in the 6th grade.
Oh, and now the killer hornet wasp things are here.
I just talked about that this morning. The murder hornet.
Win.
No, it's always something. I posted a meme about it this morning because I thought it was hilarious. It's Dr. Evil from Austin Powers.
Yeah.
And he's on the phone with Mr. Bigglesworth, and he's like, everyone's panic of the coronavirus is dying down. Release the murder hornets. And it's like, oh God, here we go again with something else. Always something. Jeez. What are you drinking tonight, sir? I see you also have a drink.
This is a cab. I don't even really know which one it is, but it's a Cabernet.
Okay.
That's my. If I don't have a Tuscan, I'll take a Cabernet.
Okay. Well, I like Jameson, so.
Yeah, me too.
Jameson and Chardonnay.
Oh, Jameson's good stuff. Do you allow it to bathe an ice cube to bathe in there or no?
No, I allow it to bathe in my mouth for a second.
Yes.
And hold my breath before I swallow.
Do you chill it or no? Not even that.
No. You know what? I don't think I've ever. Well, because I'm a bartender by profession.
Yeah.
And the only time I've ever had it chilled is if it's in like a mixed drink or we're doing specialty shots where Jameson is the mix in it. And you got to put the ice in it. That's about it. But I do like the full flavor of it because cold mutes everything. So I
Yes.
like the full flavor of the Jameson, even though it can be a little overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
And I don't do full shots all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That
right.
used to be one of my favorites too. That's a good choice.
Yeah, when I was younger, it was Jack Daniels, and then I grew up and had
You
Jameson.
graduated,
I
yes.
graduated. Oh, I would love Johnny Walker, but geez Louise.
Yeah, that's how it is with all of them. You know, it's really funny. We have a Detroit brand of tequila that's called Cabresto Tequila,
Mhm.
and we talked about product placement in one of our films, and he's like, "You got to try some," and I said, "No, I'm not really a big tequila fan, unless it's later on in the night kind of thing."
Yeah.
You know, you're out and it shows up, you know, after midnight, it's good, but I'm not sober gonna have tequila. And he goes, no, you don't understand. This is really good. And I said something like, you know, I've had Patron or whatever. And he looked at me like I just said
Like, this is not
really
Patron.
bad. And then he gives me this, puts an ice cube in it, and says, take a sip. And I'm like, you want me to drink like a whiskey? And I did. And oh my God, it's so good.
Oh yeah. I mean, no offense to people who like Patron
Yes.
or Jose
Oh,
Cuervo,
no.
but
Just different.
it's different, and it's almost, I would say it would be comparable to like a Jack Daniels or an Evan Williams type whiskey.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with it. It gets the job done. But if you really want to enjoy what you're having, like a Don Julio or a Hornitos or something like what you're saying,
yeah,
it's a little more, but there's a reason why it's a little more. So
yes, it dances all the way across your tongue.
Mm-hmm. And all throughout you.
Yes, and all through you.
And all through you. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get too far off track.
That's all right. I think people will like our alcohol choices.
I just want everybody to have a good time. That's my goal in life. Is everybody to have a good time, because you never know what's going to happen. You could go in an hour. Not to say anything, but you could go in an hour. You can go tomorrow. You can go in 10 years from now. Enjoy what you can while you can. So back to the movie.
Right.
Was there any part of that movie that really stuck in your head that you enjoyed, like you enjoyed filming it, or there was something that somebody did that made that moment like really memorable and enjoyable for you to always go back on for that movie?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites is actually my wife plays she plays a prostitute.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. No disrespect, but I'm like,
it is kind of funny.
I can see my boyfriend doing something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be that way originally, but it was like every time I read that, I'm like, that's your role, man. It's just a good role, and it fits you really well. And I don't mean that in a bad way. So, but I remember at some point, her and her friends kind of decide that they're going to try to take this into their own hands. They have guns. They're going to try to get the girl back. And they have this like almost expendable moment where they're kind of badasses. And I thought that was so cool to do. And I love the whole thing, the unlikely heroes of a prostitute and a suicidal vet, to me was like, I want to show that there's no such thing as a waste of space. There are people that might be down and out now, but they can do amazing things if we let them. And we just got to find them and meet them at the right time and place. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. But that scene with them kind of walking out, like, you know, that Expendables feel, I thought it was really cool. So that's one of my favorites. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Oh, very cool. How did your wife feel about it when you presented that role, that character to her? I'm just very curious. I think it's hilarious. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it is. Trust me. We've had a couple of times where I wrote something and I just knew it was her, and she read it and saw herself somewhere else. And we've gone through the whole thing of, I'm not going to be in the movie then, and I'm going to be in the movie then, and I'm going to make you do it then. And we have that whole thing. And I always double dog dare her. She gets to read out loud, and she reads it, and she sees, eventually she'll see that I'm right. It always happens.
She doesn't want to admit it at first, but
And
she
then-
knows you've
and-
got someplace you're going.
Well, and then I get to rub it in because she wins freaking awards every damn time she's in one of these roles. So then I get to go. So you remember that? Yeah, I was right, wasn't I?
You're welcome.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I started want to sing that Moana song. What can you say? You're welcome.
Does it make you want to write more roles just so your wife can like play them? So she's like winning a role, awards, and she's doing so well. Like it's like, hey, I think we might be onto something here. Like,
right.
give me a couple of days, I'll be right back.
I do like it, but I will say I've kind of been blown away by a couple of writers that we've hired lately. So I help with the story, but I let my writers write, and man, oh man, my stories have gotten better because of it, because they're such amazing script writers. On Ash and Bone, which we're in editing right now, it's going to be my wildest ride yet for a horror movie, and it's kind of like House of Wax meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite. Besides, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are like my favorite. Oh my gosh. Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. So in that movie, I remember shooting it just feeling like I just don't want to write anymore because these guys are so amazing at it. And we have a new film that we're working on now. But anyways, so seeing what somebody can do with my story or my idea, and then, instead of me sitting down and trying to write, these pros write it, and then they send it to me, and I go, I thought there would be more like this and this and that. And then they go back and tinker with it, and it ends up much better than I could have made it. So I do like writing, but I love seeing the real pros write. That makes me excited. Okay.
I'm just curious. I ask a few people this because I've written a few, but and I'm halfway through one, and then all this crap happens, so I had to stop filming and all that other crap. I can only get I'm good for 10 pages, 16 pages taps, and I can't go anymore. So everything is very short story-ish, if you will. Did you ever have that happen to you, or do you have any advice for other people who, because I do have a couple of filmmakers watching. Do you have any advice for anybody who might be stuck in that situation, if you have any? Or
so I think it's very easy to write a short story, and I think there's nothing wrong with writing it, because usually you get the nuts and bolts of the story there. But what I found is, if you, instead of writing the story kind of organically, is to write, what are my characters, what are my plots, what are my subplots, and then you create almost like the main scenes around those things that has to happen, and say there are 7 things throughout the movie that has to happen for it to go from A to Z. Okay. And then after that, you have to add all the scenes that contribute to that. So you have to help establish the characters. You have to help, you know what I mean? So when you start filling all those things in, you're at 90 pages real quick.
Wow, I like that. That's a very organized way. That really is a very organized way to put that.
Yeah, it's really weird when you do that, though. When you put in a beginning and an end, and then you place a middle somewhere, and then you say what has to happen for us to go from A to B, and then you start thinking, can I Tarantino this and switch the timelines, and can we start here and then go back in time? You have all these options, but when you write the original timeline, if you think of 7 main scenes that gets you from A to Z, and then you'll have to figure out that there's some stuff that'll go missing, and those scenes will automatically happen by doing that.
Okay, I like that. I like the way you put that.
Give it a try. Yeah.
No, that's super smart, because I just I have an idea and I just start writing. And I know some people, have the same thing too. Or they'll say, I've had a couple of friends go, well, I can only get this far, And then like past the beginning, I'm stuck and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where you're trying to
Yeah.
go with this. Like,
Yes.
I can't
I
help
think-
you.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that somebody told me was write the beginning first, or the ending
Then
first.
first.
The ending first, because that way you know where you're going. So every scene now is going to point at that in one way or
Absolutely.
another. So that's something that I heard, and then I took Trey Parker's screenwriting class in Toronto a long time ago, and man, he's
Really?
amazing.
South Park?
Yeah.
Trey Parker, South Park?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And he said, the opening of his whole thing, he said, here's the problem with Hollywood. And he goes, people write, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And he goes, you need to write like this. This happened, so therefore that happened, and that made this happen.
Oh,
So
that
he
is.
said, yeah,
Sorry,
he
go
said
ahead.
if you were going to cut a scene in a movie, it needs to be a nightmare, because that scene was a domino that knocked over another domino. So you take one out, this happens.
Yeah, that. Oh my gosh, that clicks too. I mean, what you
I
said
loved it.
is
I was
great,
like,
and what he said, boom, you put those together. That's fucking genius. Seriously.
yeah,
Because it makes sense. It's like, actions and consequences, and that has to follow through
amen.
to be able to get to the end of it, to make the conclusion of your story and the point you were trying to get. Oh my God.
Yes.
That just like went.
Watch your writing now. Your lights are going to just, it's going to be fun.
You're welcome, guys that are watching. Take some fucking notes. This guy knows what he's talking about. Sorry, it's the Jameson starting to talk.
Right. Yeah. That's not a bad thing. I can't get over this. I'm almost out. So.
Oh,
but
yeah, my
we're having a
goodness.
good time. So.
I'm glad. Because that's, like I said earlier, that's my point. I want everybody to have a good time. And I want people to know about who they're watching on the screen also. That's why I ask the questions I ask. I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes people, they don't think to know about somebody they're into, or, they watch a bunch of other interviews that you may do, and people may not. I mean, I don't know what you've been interviewed with. I mean, I've had people tell me, nobody's asked me about my past before and all this other stuff. I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
People should be curious, because if they're watching you, then they like you. And if they like you, they may be inspired by you. And if they know what your backstory is, that can inspire them even further, or somebody else who doesn't know who you are, but they're watching this or they're watching something else and they hear your story and they're like, hey man, that's pretty fucking cool. I like the way that struck with me. And I'm Jameson talking, sorry.
I like it. Tell Jameson he's doing a good job.
Thank you, Jameson.
He's a product placement now. I wish I knew. I wish I remembered what wine I was drinking. We could plug that too, but that's all right.
It must be that good if you forget what it is.
Yeah, that's how good it is.
Oh my goodness. Do you have any other projects that you're currently working on, or do you have anything that's gonna come out anytime soon besides Eternal Code that's been out? And like I said earlier, y'all can look in the descriptions, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, and you can rent it and watch it, so you know what movie we're talking about if you don't already know.
Yeah. I think the big thing right now has been Agramon's Gate.
Yes,
it's my first true horror film, and I love horror so much, and I know horror audiences are tough critics, so I've been kind of avoiding. My closest attempt was Abstruse. It used to be called Into a Dark Mind. That was my title for it, and I like mine better still. But that film, it was more like a prequel to American Psycho in how I viewed that I wanted to see him come unraveled, essentially, and that's kind of what I did with that. But with Agramon's Gate, we just had that. It was in theaters in February, and people so far has been mostly really positive feedback on it. And international sales have been crazy. I don't think we've had one that sold to so many countries so quickly as this film. So that's been a lot of fun. That's going to go pretty much all over the globe in a very short period of time.
Oh, that's awesome. That must be super exciting to hear something like that. Like, holy shit.
It
I do.
is.
I've seen a whole bunch of trailers for I always say it wrong. Agramon's
Agramon's
Gate.
Gate, yeah.
I'm horrible. You think I couldn't read or something. But I can read a lot, but pronouncing shit is off me. No, I do another podcast with a co-host I've done for a few years called Girls Going Gin, and we actually interviewed Calhoun.
Calhoun, yeah.
And we interviewed Calhoun months back
Yeah,
on that
when
movie.
we had the premiere. We were in LA when she did the premiere. When she did the interview, I remember.
Yes,
That's
yes.
awesome.
She was so lovely. She was so sweet. She was such a pleasure to have on.
The demon.
Yes, she does. Like the little,
mean demon. Yes.
Yeah, that was totally cool. So we got to watch a lot of that, and we wanted to go, but we were it was kind of last minute for us.
Yeah.
And we have jobs and families and stuff. So even though we're close-ish, it was still kind of shit. If I would have known a week prior, but
that was an amazing event. My manager, whose birthday is today, Joe Williamson.
Happy birthday!
He's awesome. But he put together such an amazing premiere for that one. It was so funny because we had first booked this 100-seat theater because we weren't even planning on having a Hollywood screening of this. We were kind of thinking, because it was going to be a February release, we were thinking that we'll do a local premiere here in Michigan. And I already had a couple theaters that wanted it. So I'm like set to go. And my distributor from Midnight Releasing, he calls me. He's like, hey, Harley, we've sold this movie like hotcakes at AFM. We need to do a premiere in LA. I'll put the movie in the theater for a week in Hollywood. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I have to make plans for this. And so we figured out how to do this kind of on the fly. And we went from having a 100-seater to being out of space 3 weeks before the premiere. My manager, Joe, goes to the theater and he's like, hey, guys, what can we do? And they're like, well, we have a 160-seater as well. So let's bump you guys. A week before the premiere, we maxed that thing out and we'd overbooked by 20. So I'm like, what if they all show up? And he went in and we got a 300-seater and we had probably 170, 180 people there. It was
still really good. Holy shit. It's kind of like a wedding, you invite 100 people and you get 50 to 75% to show. That's still amazing. Holy shit. That's awesome.
It was
Pardon my language. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a big blast. And we had the red carpet outside because there were so many people, it couldn't fit inside of the theater, and so much media came. It was like a Cinderella moment because we didn't expect it. Like we've had, Betrayed was, distributed by Sony and Vision and Eternal Code with a theatrical and all that stuff. Nobody expected this little horror movie to make all this noise, and here we are with this thing just like take a life of its own. And now I have people from HorrorCon saying, hey, we'd love to have Agramon's Gate. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
What happened here?
That's so cool. I'm so happy for you because I can just imagine how exciting that must feel. Holy shit, really? Yeah. This? Oh my God. It's just like this little film and it's like, I love it. That's so awesome. I love hearing that stuff. We have a couple of comments, by the way.
Yeah.
Lance Wagner says, awesome, Harley Wallen. He goes, I also own Agramon's Gate. And then, I might say this name wrong. I apologize ahead of time. Lauren Landon rules. Lauren?
Yeah, Laureen Landon. She was in Maniac Cop and some of those legendary horror films. And she was in Agramon's Gate, and every time I watch the trailer, she's the one that says, "You're all gonna die." My hair just stands up because she's so scary because she's this mentally ill woman that you wonder Is she infected by the demon? Is she the demon? Is she just crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. Amazing.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of horror movies, do you have a favorite horror movie, or do you have a favorite horror movie character, or?
It's man, this is hard on me but I do agree with you. But I have a few different ones because I love some of the demonic stuff. Which is not at all the same as the violent, Hills Have Eyes type of things. But I love all of it. I think the scariest movie I had ever seen at the time, it made a big impression on me, was Hostel, and I was not ready for that.
No, I don't think anybody was ready for that. No, but I'm sorry, it was still a badass movie. And at the same time, I'm sorry, because I do my other show and we do things on conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, horror movies, the occult. We cover all kinds of stuff because I'm the tinfoil hat wearing asshole. So I honestly do believe that happens in the world. Like, I mean, if there's sex trade and there's still basically modern day slavery everywhere.
Yes.
Why wouldn't there be something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be really something like that out in the world for somebody to get the idea to make a movie like that. Unless they're just really demented. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there has to be something like that.
It's funny though, because you look at someone like Stephen King and you think about this, the stuff his brain gives babies to is absolutely ridiculous. He can write words right into your head and make you want to go check the door before you go to sleep. And it's an amazing skill. And that for me, when I did Agrimon's Gate, that was a big thing because I love Stephen King. I love Rob Zombie, even though I know a lot of people think that it's been outplayed and it's not, it's not the freshest thing, but I still really like that different approach. Anything from, the silliest Jeepers Creepers type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's all so good. And then you have the supernatural, whether it's, Poltergeist, if you want to go old school, or if you want to bring it a little bit more into now. I remember the Quiet Place was amazing. Amazing.
I was very surprised that was a John Krasinski movie.
Yes.
Because he came from The Office, like suit and tie at a paper company every day, and he's Jack Ryan. The action one he does.
Yeah.
You see him in all this other stuff, and you would never think this guy wrote this shit.
Yeah.
Directed it, wrote it, directed, whatever.
Yeah.
His wife was in it, and it's like, wait, what? What happened?
Yes.
Where did that come from? I love it. I love
that sequel.
I've not seen the sequel. Is the sequel out yet?
No, not out yet. But it's one of them things that they took a while to do this, and it's like, is it needed? I don't know.
But they didn't take 20 years to do it. They didn't take 20, 30 years to do it.
Yeah, it's not Ghostbusters.
Yes, no. Oh, Lord. No, it's not Ghostbusters. I don't even get started on that crap.
Yeah, no, let's not.
But no, you're right. It's not Ghostbusters. They didn't wait umpteen million years to do a reboot or whatever the hell they wanted to call that. But no, it was. Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, good.
I have a little peanut butter and jelly, so I can't do that. But no, I don't. I'm kind of hearing about it because I didn't know. I wasn't sure if the second one had come out or not.
Yeah.
But I don't think they waited too long. But it has been a little bit. But like I said, too, it hasn't been 20, 30 years since they decided to pick back up and go with it.
Yeah, I just wonder where it's going to go. That's my big thing. What could possibly...
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's like bird Box too. It's like, yeah, great, but what are you gonna do?
I did not watch all of that because I couldn't. I'm sorry, but I couldn't stay into it. I was just like, there's some things it gets really.
Yeah. Really,
that doesn't happen in real life. Are you serious? Really? No, I'm done with this. Yeah. I've just wasted a half an hour of my life I'll never get back. I'm sorry.
How did you handle Blair Witch Project then?
Oh my Lord. Oh my gosh. You know what? This actually comes up often for me.
Oh yeah?
Yes, because Blair Witch, I remember when it came out. I think I was about high school when it came out.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom was just my mom is that person, she believes almost everything on the interwebs.
Yep.
Can't believe everything on the interwebs. So she really thought that was a real documentary.
Yeah. I
And
saw
when
it when they were still lying, when there were no credits on the film, and they had a fake website where you went and they showed all the stuff, and it's like, what the hell is this? And we went to this thing, me and a couple of my friends, and we're like, if this is really real, could they really show it? Like we were like, and I'm like, this can't be real. This has got to be some bullshit. And they're like, no, it's real. I'm like, no way. And
that's because the internet was new, so we assumed. I mean, like, you can't put lies on the internet. Why would people do that? Now we're all like, no, we know that. No, I don't believe all that. That's computer animated or something. But no, and like I said, this actually comes up a lot for me is Blair Witch. It actually in the past couple of months, so I don't know if I should take that as a sign or not. I don't know, but my boyfriend had we watch a lot of YouTube. We watch tons of different things. I mean, from conspiracy theories to movies, to regular news, to cartoons, to whatever the hell you want to watch, you can find it on YouTube. And I love it and hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
But he saw this one show. I want to say the show is called Film Theory, or the channel is called Film Theory on YouTube.
Okay.
And he kind of breaks down different movies for you, and he tells you theories that people have come up with concerning the plot of the movie and things that you wouldn't have thought of. And Blair Witch was one of them. And his theory on it was very interesting. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit when my boyfriend told me about it. He's like, you have to watch this. Blair Witch, he's thinking, or his theory is on the movie, is that there's really not a Blair Witch. That doesn't exist. It's two guys that are fucking with this one. Excuse my language. Sorry. They're messing with this girl out in the woods because they're killers. They're trying to mess with her mind and make her think that there's something out here that there's not. And then they pretend it's dead and all this other weird stuff's happening. And they lure her down into that little basement where they see Kenny or whomever, like in the corner. And when it comes to the end, that's when they get her. So, I mean, that's my summed up version of it. But the way this guy laid it out, and it wasn't very long either, but the way he laid it out was, whoa, I would have never put it in that perspective, no matter how many times I'd seen this movie. But that, I liked it a lot, because even though it may not be what the writers and the directors wanted, it's still an interesting thing to put with that movie, because it gives you a different thought on that movie, and it gives you a whole different view of that movie. I like things like that. I'm weird.
Yeah, they were, I don't know if you know, but they wanted to get really crazy reactions. So when they were sleeping and stuff, they didn't let them sleep. They were out there in the woods, like scaring them and messing with their tent. All that stuff is real.
Okay.
The people, the filmmakers, so to speak, they terrorized these people that were actors in this the whole time they were out there.
Okay. Yeah, just kind of like make it a little more realistic. Really give them something to work for in their role. Like, come on, get scared. I have another question. I have actually a question for you in the comments, sir. This one is from Jesse Nahara. It says, what actor would you say plays the best bad guy? Because I know you like the Pacino and the De Niro.
Yeah, I love the old. I mean, I still love De Niro, but the old De Niro, the De Niro of Deer Hunter and Bronx Tale. Like I love that De Niro. I love De Niro of Cape Fear. Ooh, he is scary.
Yeah, that was a crazy movie. He was all psycho and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was in wicked shape for that too.
Oh God, yeah, that was a really good movie.
Yeah, that's really good. I like. Wow, that's a great question. I love questions that get me like this because it makes me run through everything in my head.
I love that somebody asked that question because I didn't even ask that question.
That's a great question. I think the really best bad guy is probably the one you don't see coming. That
Okay.
I think that's really the best guy, because if you can blend in and seem, you know, if you think about Kaiser Jose, and you think about The Usual Suspect, that's scary, because that
Okay.
white guy would get all the way up to you asking for a penny and kill you,
Yeah, just like just shake
because
you real
you
quick.
never suspected him to be
Right.
dangerous.
Ah, damn, I like that. I like that a
Think
lot.
about it. That big, scary guy, you
Uh-huh.
see him coming all the way. You're ready for that. But Kaiser
Jeez.
Jose, not so much.
Jeez. Okay, I like that. Jesse Nahara says, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Cool.
So he agrees with that as well.
Awesome.
Oh crap. I just looked at the time. We are way over an hour, sir, which
Oh my
I'm not
God.
complaining about that at all because I am very much enjoying my conversation with you. You're very easy to talk to.
Yeah, this has been a blast.
Yes, I'm glad. I'm glad you're having a good time because, like I said, like 50 million times tonight, I just want everybody to have a good time. So,
You're a good bartender.
thank you. I try.
Except I'm out.
Shit, you didn't shake the glass sooner before it was empty. You got to
I
swish it
know,
before
I
you take the
should
last
have.
drink.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Jesse also says Sam. Oh yeah, Sam Rockwell surprises me as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. He does not look like he would be the bad guy, but he doesn't. He's
Unassuming.
very, yes, he's very sinister, and he's got like that wickedness to him that just, yes, Sam Rockwell. Oh, has he been in anything lately or no?
Huh?
Has he been in anything lately or no? Like, I don't think I've seen anything with Sam Rockwell for a while.
It's been a couple of years for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a shame because he's like Ben Foster.
Yeah, he's funny too because he's in and out of indie films, and then he makes a blockbuster.
Yes.
And then he's back to indie films and then a blockbuster. You know, somebody who I think I would love to see him get a big scary role is Jake Busey.
Really?
Jake Busey is one of them guys that I don't think anybody has truly seen how good he is. I think he has a lot to show. If you remember him in Stranger Things, you got a glimpse of what he can do. And I would love to see somebody, take him and give him, a shining type of role and see what he can do. I think he could blow some people away.
Maybe they're scared of his dad. So,
right.
Like, you know what? No offense, because I love Gary Busey. I love Gary Busey. But maybe they're just like, we've seen that smile and that look at his face, and it might be genetic. So let's kind of push you over here. Right, no, but I'm sorry. No, I love Gary Busey. Jake Busey is amazing too. He's been around for a long time. He's been in a lot of great movies, and he really is. He's a great actor. And it is a shame that you don't see him in a whole lot of stuff, really.
Well, yeah, with Stranger Things and The Predator, the new Predator, he has some really good stuff in, and I think he's taken his personal acting to a whole new level. That's why I was saying that it would be kind of cool to see, because he has just enough of that crazy handed down in genes, and he's got a lot of acting chops. I would love to see him get a role like that.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's see. Jesse also says Motherless Brooklyn. I'm confused on that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Tell us more, Jesse. And Lance also says Poltergeist remake and that Jake is great in The Frighteners. Yes, that Michael J. Fox movie, that was a great movie. It was funny. It was so funny. I love that movie. God, now I want to go binge watch a whole bunch of movies I watched when I was a kid and growing up. It's like, oh my God, I remember when The Frighteners came out and the broken jaw, slack jaw hillbilly where like his jaw like came off. It's like, dude, you're a ghost. How does that come off?
Yeah, right. I remember though that film was way better than its cover.
Yes, it is.
A good cover.
No, it does not do it justice at all. It was a great movie. It was funny. Oh man, the graphics were great on it too.
Yeah.
The storyline, everything. Oh man, I hadn't heard that movie in forever.
To watch it again.
Yes. Oh man, thank you for reminding me about that. Right? Thank you, Lance. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Jesse says. No, Motherless Brooklyn wasn't Edward Norton. I think I was confused. he was confused Edward Norton for Rockwell. That's what that was. Okay.
Yeah, Edward Norton in Primal Fear is pretty damn amazing.
Oh, yes. Primal Fear, and oh my God, what is that skinhead movie? Why can I not think of it?
American History X.
Thank you.
Amazing.
He was crazy
Amazing.
psycho in that too. Yeah, he is a really, really great actor. I really do like Edward Norton.
Yeah, he's a Sam Meisner disciple to the T. And Sanford Meisner for sure. I've heard that he can be tough to direct because of how true he is to his art. But I kind of love that though. Secretly, I'm the guy who would be like, I would love to direct that because I would love to be there when it happens.
Right? And you know what? It may come down to, you know what? He's so good. He knows what he wants. He knows maybe what needs to happen. That doesn't, I mean, not to talk crap about the directors and not what they want, because that's really their project, but you put it in the hands of the actors to make that story happen for you. So I can kind of see, like, you know, if he's a little diva-ish, like, no.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I think he's pretty damn awesome on screen, and I think he makes excellent choices. So yeah, I'd love to see what he's got.
Oh yeah, for sure. Lance says, can't talk about Edward Norton's one movie that is my favorite. Jesse says, American History X was an epic film for sure.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Correct. I mean, I don't agree with the views of the people, but it was great as a movie itself. The story was great. The acting was great. Oh God, it was great. It was just great.
But it is. I've heard people say, you shouldn't tell that story. You shouldn't tell this story. And it's like, you know, it's art. Like it's like telling a painter not to paint the naked woman. I'm sorry, that's a part of it.
Right.
So we all have to make films and sculptures and pictures and photos and paintings the way it comes out, and be okay with that. That is art, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you can't confine somebody to doing what you want to do. That doesn't help them grow. It doesn't help the world. I mean, if anything, it doesn't help other people grow, because being exposed to someone else's art, like asking you, like, what movie inspired you growing up, or what actor inspired you, those are things that if they were confined to where they can't express themselves in an artistic way, it would never influence other people to do like things. So that was my ranting.
That's a good rant.
I'm fighting Jameson right now.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
That's awesome.
I just throw the bottle under the bus. Oh my gosh. Lance also whispers Fight Club.
Oh yeah. I don't know. The thing with Fight Club is you can't spend too much time thinking about the plot.
Yeah.
Because it falls apart. But the film itself is so good. It's like Bird Box.
Yeah.
You think for 12 seconds, you're like, damn it ruined the whole thing. So like you just gotta let it be what it is. And then you can enjoy it. But definitely Fight Club. I love Fight Club. I remember somebody started talking about the plot, and I was like, no, don't ruin it for me. I don't like this at all. Because it's, you know, it breaks a lot of rules when it comes to plausible, possible, and likely. And yes, I agree, but no, I don't care.
Jesse says, sorry, we got more comments, so it keeps flipping. The art of film can show a mirror to people. Sometimes people don't want to face that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. Absolutely.
I see that. But still has to, if there's somebody that wants to express it, then we still have to do that. And those who are offended or sensitive or whatever it may be, they just don't watch it then.
Exactly. It's like, if you don't like what I put on my feed, scroll to the next person. So, Lance says, I'm a huge David Fincher fan.
Yes, David Fincher. Yes, absolutely. Me too.
Sheesh, the weesh. We're at an hour and 20, sir.
That's pretty damn amazing.
I love it. I love it. I just keep looking up and I'm like, oh, the ticker's still going. Will, do you have any last words since we're like pretty much at the end of the show, sir?
I think more than anything else, we are doing this TV series called Tale of Tales that takes place primarily at a strip club, and it is a wild, wild ride. And I just hope that people will tune in. This will be this fall. It's coming to Amazon Prime, and it's a hell of a ride. I just really hope that people tune in for this because we're trying to get picked up for a second season and trying to complete this first season. So I'm hoping people really tune in for this. It's this script is so special. The characters are so awesome. And we've had some really cool guest stars in on this as well. So Tale of Tales, keep an eye out for that this fall on Amazon Prime.
Oh my gosh. Well, that title fits where it's going. So I like that a lot. Oh my gosh. Well, you gotta send it to me when it's getting ready to come out.
Absolutely.
So I can get it on the Prime and check that out.
You got it. Yeah.
I'm always interested in new stuff. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So thank you so much for being on the show. I super appreciate it. And hopefully you're washing your hands, sir.
Yep. And we're going to go for refills, and we'll do this again when we have something exciting come up.
Absolutely. I would so love to have you on again. You have been an absolute pleasure. And like I said, it's very easy to talk to you. I would love to have you on again anytime you've done something.
Love it. Thank you. I had a blast. I appreciate it, Joe.
Thank you. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. You can check me out on YouTube, Any Last Words, or Facebook, Any Last Words. I've got 2 shows a week now. I was at 1. Now I'm at 2 shows a week. So hope you guys can tune in for that every Monday and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. California time, PST, whatever you want to call it. Again, thank you guys for joining us so much. And good night, Harley. Thank you for joining us.
See ya.
Thank you. Good night, you guys. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. I'll see you guys this Wednesday, not next Wednesday. See you Wednesday. Thank you guys. Good night.